The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hope you had a good Monday. Week is off to a good start. All right, let's see if anything crazy happens this week. I don't know. I feel like we are inching towards October, and that is getting crunch time with this election. So let's see. Let's see if something happens. I'm still sticking with my big prediction that President Biden has some type of health situation that requires Kamala Harris to be sworn in, and so she goes into voting as an incumbent. I don't know. That's a big predict for me. We'll see. Man, if that one comes true, that'll be pretty awesome. Actually, it'll be awesome just because I will have predicted it. I don't know if it'll be awesome for the country. By the way, speaking of Kamala Harris for a minute, so she did go with Oprah Winfrey, and they did an interview. You know, she's been criticized a lot for not meeting with the press. And like, if you see her when she's like getting on Air Force One, she has her AirPods on, her headphones, and she's always acting like she's taking calls, or who the heck knows. By the way, as you're walking up to an airplane, it's so freaking loud. There's no way you're going to be able to be taking calls. So that's obviously she doesn't want to address the media on the tarmac or whatever. But anyway, the Oprah Winfrey thing, I'll be honest, I tried to watch it, and I'm not going to lie, it was so just cringe. I couldn't get through it. I really couldn't. I'm going to try and get through it, and I'm actually going to see if I can download some clips, because I do think it's worth listening to kind of what was discussed. But man, I had a hard time getting through that thing. Actually, I didn't get through it, so I couldn't do it. I just was not in the right frame of mind to listen to nothing, basically. And that's pretty much what it was. And again, that's just calling a spade, man. Seriously, that is just calling a spade. I'm sorry. Gosh, it's funny. I had some chats over the weekend with various friends, and this one buddy of mine, he lives in Chicago. He's like, dude, it's hilarious. I feel like you get both sides mad. And I'm like, good. I hope I get both sides mad. I should get both sides mad. I mean, like here, I'll give you an example of Team Trump doing something that I think is just so ridiculous. But his sons, Eric and Don Jr., they launched this like crypto initiative. And then obviously President Trump is behind it. And then why would you do that? Like, why launch a shady looking crypto initiative when we're 50 days out from the election? Crypto in and of itself has a bad perception with people. And then you're launching a crypto initiative this close to the election. I didn't get that. I'm like, why would you guys do that? It just looks shady. It makes you look like used car salesmen, and it doesn't meet the need, So that's another example of things on the Republican side that I'm just like, I shake my head at, and it just doesn't make any sense. And then even continuing a little bit, Trump is pounding the pavement, and he's basically out at all the states that basically are, oh my God, I'm blanking on the term. Hold on. The swing states. God, seriously, I do forget words every once in a while, or I grasp at what I want to say. Anyway, so he's out pounding the pavement every, Saturday at a swing state. And, it's just the same message over and over again. And it's a lot of name calling. It's a lot of she's terrible, he's terrible, this, that. I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. Anyway, so a couple real things, and then we're going to get into another downloaded segment from my girl Candace Owens, because she talked about something that I think was really good. But man, did you hear what came out with RFK Jr.? This stuff is insane. So basically, if you didn't hear what now is like happened, RFK Jr. is caught in a sexting scandal with this woman named Olivia Nuzzi. She's a reporter, I believe, for the New York Times. Here, let me find a good summary. Not the New York Times, New York Magazine. New York Magazine's star political reporter, Olivia Nuzzi, is at the center of a bombshell report that emerged Thursday, revealing that she had a personal relationship with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the failed presidential candidate who's nearly 4 decades her senior. News of the affair spread like wildfire, with the scandal being all more intriguing because Nuzzi, 31, was engaged while Kennedy, 70, has been married to actress Cheryl Hines since 2014. All right, so this sexting scandal comes out, and I will say, I mean, RFK Jr. does not look good in this. Let me tell you what his freaking response was. And by the way, this was all in January of this year. So I forget when he declared he was running, but he's definitely been in the limelight. So this is super recent. How do you not control yourself? This is crazy. All right. So his response was, and again, I don't know if this came from him or his people, but he said that the nature of the relationship was emotional and digital in nature, not physical. You know, it's funny. I've had this discussion over the years with people. Like, what's worse when it comes to cheating? Is it worse to physically cheat on your significant other or your spouse, like have an affair, like a one-time affair? Or is it worse to have emotional and digital cheating, like where, you're sexting somebody else or something? As crazy as this sounds, I mean, I think it's a debatable topic. I really do, because honestly, that emotional cheating, like when you are literally emotionally cheating on your significant other or your spouse, and you're willingly participating in, something that is in your mind, and you're wanting it, but maybe you're too scared to act on it. That's pretty bad. I don't think just because you don't physically act on it, it makes it any better. I really don't. All right, we might have to have a whole separate episode on that. Anyway, I think the whole thing, though, it's a little bit of a bad look, but it isn't getting crazy amounts of publicity, and they're not going after RFK Jr. as hard as I thought they would about it. But nonetheless, it's not a great look for him, and then in turn for Team Trump, because they're really, him and Tulsi Gabbard and then a few others, they're really bringing them into the fold, and making them, with RFK Jr. and then his VP Nicole Shanahan, they're trying to really establish this MAHA instead of MAGA, MAHA, Make America Healthy Again. They're really trying to establish that as like their tentpole contribution to Team Trump. So anyway, little sexting scandal for RFK Jr. What a knucklehead. All right. Secondly, things are heating up in the Diddy stuff. I'm going to do some more on that a little bit later in the week, but let's see if anything really comes out on other people with that, and if there's any accountability about other people. There's a lot of people that have touted Diddy as like, they've supported him, and again, the question becomes, I'll give you an example. I won't play the clip, but there's a clip going viral that LeBron James posted it must be from the COVID times, because it was like a Zoom conversation between LeBron and Diddy, and LeBron is like, everybody knows ain't no party like a Diddy party. Here, hold on, let me find it actually.
Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now again, like, honestly, I'm not a huge LeBron James fan, but like, I don't think LeBron did anything inappropriate, as many of these other people did at the Diddy freak off parties. But, I mean, LeBron's a pretty sharp guy. Like, the fact that he even put himself in that environment and then says something like that. Is there any accountability that needs to happen to someone like LeBron? I mean, again, I know it's a slippery slope. I really do. And, probably the odds are nothing will happen. And maybe that's the right thing. But my point is, in the court of public perception, if you're somebody that has publicly supported Diddy tremendously, and now I mean it's bad what is coming out on him. I mean, it's like beyond bad. I'm going to do a more of an episode, and I did pull the actual 14-page indictment off of the internet. I mean, it's disgusting, man. There's some disgusting stuff, and then a lot is coming out with Justin Bieber. Man, that poor kid. I think they really did a number on him psychologically, which makes sense, because when you see Justin Bieber nowadays, man, he is really like you think he's being a jerk, but you can tell he is battling some serious demons with everything that took place in order for him to become as successful and famous as he did. And that involves Diddy, that involves Usher, that involves, a few other people. I mean, you can see he's truly in pain. But it looks like, with his wife now, Haley, I'm blanking on her name, Haley Baldwin, who's, God, Stephen Baldwin's daughter. That dude's a nut job. He's making the rounds lately. I'll have to pull some clips from the things he's saying. But anyway, I actually am happy for the two of them, because it seems like they're kind of like not only distancing themselves from all of this Hollywood stuff, but they're almost insulating themselves from all of this Hollywood stuff. But there's a lot of just crazy videos of Justin. I'm talking like young Justin, 14, 15-year-old Justin with Diddy. And they're weird, man. They're weird. Like, it's not a good look. It's not a good look. So anyway, what was my point with all that? Oh, my point was, is there and should there be accountability for all the people that, quite frankly, I feel like knew what was going on and nobody really said anything? I don't know. We'll delve into that later. All right. So let me play this from Candace Owens that she said, I believe on Thursday or Friday, because I really like it. And I've talked about this before, but I think she did a really nice job of articulating it.
All right, everybody, let's jump right into this. The question that's on everybody's mind: what should Donald J. Trump do now? That's what we have to discuss, because there are major implications. He just survived 2 assassination attempts in the span of like 65 days. They want to kill him. They want Donald Trump dead. And I believe that there is a chance that they will be successful in that aim unless Trump gets wise to who exactly he is fighting. My belief, I thought about this, I thought through this. I believe that Trump needs to switch out his VP immediately. I'm not saying this to be controversial. Please spare me. Unity. I'm so sick of this cry for unity. There is no unity, okay? He survived 2 assassination attempts. We need to get real about what is happening. We need to get real about who it is that wants him dead and why it is that they want him dead. And we need to get real about what is the best solution for that.
All right. So basically, she's saying that he needs to get rid of JD Vance, and he's not going to do that. I don't think they'll do that. But what the reasoning behind why she says it, I find pretty compelling.
All right. So name that senator. Ready? Abandoned by his father, left with a troubled mother, eventually raised by his grandparents, goes to an Ivy League school, gets recruited by some powerful figures in business, changes his name, writes a book about his own life, becomes a senator for 2 years, and then is pushed into the national spotlight as a potential White House candidate. Talking about Barack Obama, but it could also be JD Vance.
She is hilarious. But seriously, think about that. Like JD Vance, actually very similar to Barack Obama, came out of absolute nowhere. Like absolute nowhere. And all of a sudden, if you remember, it was the year where they thought it was going to be a red wave. He was literally one of the only Republicans to win a Senate seat. So like the dude bursts into politics. Nobody knows who he is. He wins a Senate seat out of nowhere. And then 2 years later, he's the VP candidate. I mean, that's crazy.
Group of people when it comes to JD Vance. I told you my opinion when it was announced that he was VP. I genuinely have never met him. And the people that I know who have met him like him. I mean, I very much trust Tucker Carlson's opinion. He said that JD Vance was brilliant and he stood by JD Vance throughout this.
All right. So like, here's something I'll just chime in. I mean, I do like Tucker Carlson, but like, I don't take that as gospel. And, you know, prior to JD Vance being selected, it's not like Tucker Carlson was always on record being like, JD Vance is the guy, JD Vance is the guy. He wasn't actually. He basically kind of rallied behind it after the announcement. And that's my point with all of this. Like, there are very few people that question anything these days on either side. And one of the reasons I really like Candace is even though she's aligned technically on the Republican conservative side, she calls them out. She calls them out. And none of these other guys do. By the way, including Tucker. Like, it's very rare that I hear Tucker Carlson being critical of anything on the Republican side. And to me, if you're not critical of your side, your eyes are not wide open. They're just not, because there's so much to be critical on by both sides. All right, so let me get to the gist of what she's saying with this.
And give you my opinion that Trump should switch out his VP. And it's nothing personal against JD Vance, but it is the recognition that whoever is plotting to kill Trump would have run through a couple of scenarios. What would have happened if Trump got shot and killed yesterday? Well, what would have happened is it would have been such a dramatic event that it would have brought the nation together. Even people that are on the left would have thought this is outrageous. This is not the way that elections should be run. This isn't right. I'm now going to just vote Republican. And who would have become the Republican candidate? Well, I would imagine we would have all been forced to agree that the right person is JD Vance, because that's who Trump picked. That is who Trump picked to be his running mate. That's who Trump picked to be his number two. That's who Trump would have wanted. And then JD Vance would have become the president of the United States. Now, I want to be clear. Like I said, if the people that are trying to go after Trump would have been running through this, these would have been the equations that they would have been running through in their head, which means that they were okay with JD Vance potentially becoming the president of the United States. And so we need to speak about that. Let's actually look into who JD Vance is and why I believe that if Trump is going to spare his own life, he needs to put in a candidate for VP that would render him assassination proof. And I have a couple of ideas about who those candidates should be. Again, nothing personal against JD Vance. I've never met him, and I have no personal assessment of him and his character.
All right, so fundamentally, basically what she's saying is whoever is behind this, if there is a greater entity behind it besides, two rogue knucklehead dudes, they are okay with JD Vance being president. And again, I totally agree with that. I said that a long time ago, I think. I said that I think JD Vance is controlled opposition. I think he's being placed in this. He got placed as a senator in Ohio, and he got placed here as VP because in 2025 or 2028 for that matter, I do think the guy has a future, and I think he has one because they can control him. And he's backed by some really big conservatives, Peter Thiel, and, even Elon Musk and all these guys who, these people, man, they don't give a shit about you and I. They care about control and they care about their financial well-being. And to be honest with you, I think the power and control even more. All right, you know what? I'm not going to play any more of that. But basically, you know, she's kind of making the argument that, again, this has happened twice now. Let's see if it happens again. You know, and then there's this whole side of it. What if Trump wins and then it happens? And then JD Vance automatically becomes president. Wow. Think about that one. Think about that one. If he does end up winning and then he's taken out. Interesting. First of all, I hope none of that ever happens. I hope no one's ever taken out. And you know what? Even though I said earlier and I've made the prediction that, you know, maybe President Biden has a health situation, I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't. Like, all of these guys, whether you agree with their politics and their positions, you know, you also do have to remember, you know, these guys are fathers, husbands, grandfathers. You know, there's more to them than just their, I guess, politicalness. That's tough though, man. It's kind of tough to separate the two. I totally do get it. But regardless, I don't wish bad health situations on anybody. That's getting into, like, I don't know, man. That is not karma that I'd like to mess around with. By the way, last thing on Candace's clip, she said that she thinks Trump should pick Thomas Massey as his VP. And I've talked about that guy before, and I'm actually going to bring his episode with Tucker Carlson and do an analysis on it the way I did last Friday with the one with Professor Jeffrey Sachs and Pierce Morgan. But because Thomas Massey went on Tucker Carlson's show and talked all about this AIPAC, you know, the American-Israeli Political Action Committee, which is extremely powerful, and it's one of these lobby organizations. And it was an incredibly enlightening episode, and it really sheds light on how, in many ways, compromised the Republican Party is. And I think you guys will enjoy hearing that. And then the crazy twist with that episode was, man, after he did it, I think 2 weeks later, Thomas Massey's wife died unexpectedly. Again, not saying there's any connection. I'm just saying Thomas Massey's wife died unexpectedly. That is it. All right, everybody. I'm going to leave you there. Call a spade a spade. Have a good day, evening. And we'll catch up with you later.
This guy was good.
This episode was brought to you by the new book, Deep Shallow Dive Into You, available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble in hardcover and paperback. Don't forget to sign up for our new mailing list on our website at deepshallowdive.com.